Where are absolute value inequalities used in real life? Imagine trying to keep your car within a certain distance from the curb, or measuring how much a product can vary in size without being rejected. These everyday situations involve absolute value inequalities. They are used whenever we need to find out how for a quantity can be from a specific point or value. The absolute value tells us the distance from zero or a reference point, regardless of direction. When we write inequalities with absolute values, we are setting limits on how much something can change. For example, in manufacturing, if a part needs to be exactly 250 millimeters wide but can be off by 3.5 millimeters, we use an absolute value inequality to describe this. It looks like this. The size of the part minus 250 should be less than or equal to 3.5 in absolute value. This means the part can be anywhere between 246.5 and 253.5 millimeters wide and still be acceptable. This helps ensure parts fit together properly and work well. In finance, absolute value inequalities help analyze how much a stock price can go up or down before it becomes risky. If a stock is expected to stay close to a certain value, these inequalities show the range of possible fluctuations. For example, if a company wants to keep its profit within a certain margin, they can use these inequalities to plan and make decisions. Time management is another area where absolute value inequalities come into play. When scheduling tasks or production, managers want to keep delays within a certain limit. If a project should finish within 5 days of the planned date, an absolute value inequality can describe that. It helps keep everything running smoothly and on schedule. Even in everyday life, people use these inequalities without realizing it. When measuring the length of a piece of furniture or the temperature of a room, they often think about acceptable ranges. For instance, a carpenter might want a table leg to be between 18 and 20 inches long. Using an absolute value inequality, they can set the limits for acceptable measurements. In sports, absolute value inequalities help describe how far a player has moved from the starting point, no matter which direction they go. This is useful for tracking movement or distance traveled. All these examples show how absolute value inequalities are practical tools. They help turn real-world problems into simple algebraic expressions. These expressions set clear limits and allow us to make decisions based on acceptable ranges. Understanding how they work makes it easier to see how algebra connects to everyday life and helps solve real problems efficiently.